think the difference between the passionate or talented programmer and the one that just gets the education is the guy that goes home after the education is done and continues.
All right, and in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, welcome to Tech Uncensored. My name's Nick.
And I'm Paul.
And today we're going to talk about the top 3 qualities of a successful engineer. So without further ado, we're going to get right into this. Paul, can you give us our 3 topics?
Well, I just wanted to kick it off with number 1, and I think we take these step by step. So I look at this as, what am I looking for in another developer? What's going to set you apart? So there are millions of developers, people that are graduating, from college with a 4-year degree in computer science or related majors, people that have took to their computers and taught themselves. Really, there's no lack of talent, I guess, in this to a degree, and that's kind of the word that we want to focus on here, is the talent, and that really being the threshold and the determining factor between this mass amount of developers, programmers, engineers, and the successful ones. So we really just want to focus on, where do you cross that threshold? How do you cross that threshold? And what makes you a successful engineer versus just one of the thousands, millions of people with a computer science degree? So I'm going to kick it off with number 1 being problem solving and planning. So this is a real important, especially when it comes down to projects or anything that's going to take you, any amount of time other than just a sit down and code sort of thing. The most important part of programming is not programming itself. It's the planning and problem solving that comes before you even start writing that first line of code. And I would urge you that if you're in school, if you're in college, or you're studying this to any degree, that you get yourself into this practice. That when you have an assignment, when you have a task, before you write even a single line of code, grab a whiteboard, grab a piece of paper, start mapping out and writing out in pseudocode exactly what it is. Start putting your thoughts. How would I code this? And write it down on paper. Work it out on a tablet and say, write your if conditions, write it out, write it in pseudocode, and work through the problem, because chances are that your first time through it is not going to be what it's going to look like when you finish. And you'll run into and you'll start to see, well, that's not going to work. Oh, I'm going to get stuck in a loop here. Oh, I'm exiting too soon. Or, that's not going to work because I'm in an anonymous function and I've lost scope of my variable. I mean, whatever it is, you start to work through these problems and kind of formulate what exactly it is that you're building in the first place. I mean, it really helps you solve, and it makes things become a lot less expensive if you can catch them up front before you even start programming. So number 1, problem solving and planning, definitely a must to do before you even write a single line of code. The successful ones know that. The successful ones plan. I can't say that word. All right, 2, hustler, self-driven, motivated, progressive. All those awesome words describe the successful ones. They do it. They don't let anything hold them back. They don't let their weaknesses get in the way. They don't settle. They don't become complacent. They do, and they let knowledge is power. And I guess they really subscribe to that because they're constantly challenging themselves, constantly looking for what the next thing is. They're not settling for a college degree. Hell, in this industry, you don't even need a college degree. You just gotta be that guy that's gonna go out there and go the extra mile and, grunt work, hustle. It's all about that hustle if you want to make it and being successful. It's, hitting the grindstone and learning as much as you can, challenging it, and doing it rinse and repeat. Do it over again. And
I think you're touching on something there too. Like a successful engineer knows failure, whether it's in their code or whether their road they're on, the path they took. They're used to failure. Anybody that's successful knows how to handle failure. And a lot of people even go as far to say that failure isn't so much failure as it is a learning lesson or some type of stepping stone to get you where you need to go. So always take those in. And that goes with anything in life. Just to be successful, you're going to fail. You're going to trip up. Just always remember to learn from that and keep moving forward. And I think a successful engineer follows that as true as any industry.
I 100% agree with that. I mean, hell, I don't even know why I didn't even mention that, because one of the first things I'll ask in an interview is tell me about a time when you failed. Because it's that valuable. You learn a lot from it. And hell, if somebody, I mean, I've had people that think they're smart by saying, well, I don't fail. I'm super good. Like, I don't experience that. It's like, no, hell no. Get away from me. Like that is the wrong answer, number one. If you're ever asked about a time when you fail, I mean, if somebody can come to me and say, let me tell you about this and tell you what I learned from it. That's the key right there. Is I'll tell you about how I failed, but more importantly, I'm going to tell you what I learned. And if somebody can come to me and say that and dictate, or not dictate, but explain, what they learned, how they failed, what went wrong, whatever, and has that experience, then hell yeah, that's somebody that I want to work with, because they're able to recognize, what the hell went wrong. I know they're going to learn from it. I know it's not going to happen again, or, to mitigate risk, mitigate problems. That's going to come with somebody with experience. So,
and I think emotion falls in with that too. You want to know if someone can be emotionally ready to trip up, or how to deal with that, feeling of not being successful on every path of getting a project done. So I think that, along with the hustle and drive, is just those are mandatory things that you need to develop as a skill in order to be a successful engineer. Like, I really do believe.
Right. Number 3. So number 1, problem solving and planning, important. Number 2, they gotta have the hustle. Number 3, specialization. And we have a talk on this as well with generalization versus specialization. And I think successful ones specialize, and they have this sort of, I've heard it referred to as a T-shape, but I like to call it a comb sort of style, where they are specialists in different areas. They have this deep knowledge of many different areas. And in our generalization versus specialization, wow,
killing it,
talk. We talk about kind of starting out, and how a lot of people have this mentality of being a generalist starting out, thinking that it's going to be beneficial, but it's really not. You want to be a specialist. The successful ones know how to specialize, and what they do is they repeat that over and over and over again. They have, whether it's JavaScript and programming, it becomes something that they really specialize in. And then it's something else, let's say real estate, or, I don't know, some other area of tech. Maybe it's networking, or maybe it's political science. I mean, I have a degree in political science, and so that is some level of specialization in that industry. And once you create all these different deep learning, deep knowledge areas, you become more well-rounded, you become more, you have more diverse and able to pull things from these different lines, these knowledge lines, and combine them and really create something that is out of the box and above, just a little bit of knowledge, or just knowledge that's restricted to one area.
And I think going down that route, if you're going to specialize, when you do specialize, there is a certain learning process that you take to get down to specialize in something. So when you do have to learn something else, you already have that foresight on how to tackle that issue to find a solution for your problem, because you've already went down a path to already learn in how to get to the the nitty gritty, how to be the best at something. So it shouldn't be as big of an occurrence or a problem to learn something else and try to go down that road to get what you need out of that certain other concept. So
right. So just to recap, maybe you forwarded to the end of this video to find out what the top 3 qualities of a successful engineer are. But just to recap, problem solving and planning, number 1. Number 2.
I went bad. Number 1, problem solving and planning.
Number 2, the hustle. They got to have the hustle. They got to have the determination and self-motivation. They got to be progressive.
Number 3,
things are always changing. Number 3, specialization.
Specialization.
They gotta,
don't be a generalist.
Deep knowledge of what it is that they're working on. You can have many areas of deep knowledge, but the key is the deep knowledge with the successful ones. And I think you have those top 3 qualities, you've got to be successful. There's, the only other thing you're missing is just doing it.
Yep.
I mean, but if you got that,
that's with the drive.
You want to be successful in this career. You want to separate yourself. You want to cross that threshold between the millions of developers that are out there and the few that actually do something and are successful and stand out amongst your peers. You got to follow this. You got to have that drive, that specialization, and that planning.
When you start down this road, it's guaranteed success. You will feel it in yourself. You will know if you just start trying today. And don't ever put off till tomorrow what you can get done today. And remember that.
All right, well, this has been another episode of Tech Uncensored. My name is Paul.
I'm Nick.
Remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel down below. Any links to things that we felt were important are in the description down below.
Follow us on Twitter
at tech_uncensored. And check out our website, uncensored.tech. It's just launched, and you might find something you like. Find other videos of us.